couple of guys that weren't available to you in the spring, and Cam and Pat, and also not a lot of game film to go off of for either one of those guys just because of injuries over the years. So what have they each been able to bring to the table for you here this fall?
I think that both of the obviously Cam's played a lot of football throughout his time here, and so he's brought a lot of veteran experience. And even for the guys that played here last year, it's nice to have some senior leadership in that room. Pat, I think it's just scratching the surface on what he can be. So he gets better and better every single week as he continues to develop into his role. And I think we're still trying to figure out exactly what those guys can and cannot be. You know what I mean? I think they're both going to help us a lot.
Does Cam kind of fill the traditional H spot a little bit better than the A per se, or?
Yeah, he's a bigger kid. You know what I mean? I think so. I think he's going to be a little bit better suited in that role, but as he dramatically improved as a route runner and a guy that can catch the ball, he's a really reliable hand. So we don't feel uncomfortable with him in either of those roles.
When a guy goes through as many injuries as he does, you kind of wonder if the burst and acceleration is still there. Have you kind of seen some of that come back from him?
Yeah, I mean, he's like, you don't get out there and is he, Christian Gonzalez running, seemingly like 35 miles an hour across the field? No. But is he a guy that looks like he might as well be an offensive lineman? No. He's a guy that runs well. And you worry about some of those guys. You think they're going to tiptoe around out there on the football field, and both those guys have come out and attacked it and run hard, and their speeds would not reflect what's happened to them in their past.
A couple scrimmages now, plus the spring game. How comfortable do you feel like you guys are in the offense now? How much further do you guys have to go before game time?
I think Dilly's done a great job with our unit, and I think the collection of coaches that he has working for him is really good, and I think the players have really, really bought into what we're doing. Have a pretty good idea of getting a feel for, hey, in this situation, this is what Dilly likes, and this matches our personnel and stuff like that. So I feel really good about where we're at, from my standpoint.
What's it been like working with Dillingham this year and just kind of getting used to how he works, the ins and outs of that relationship?
So Dilly is super smart, really goofy, but a great human being, a great leader in our room, very selfless, very humble, very willing to take new ideas, very willing to listen to the way that people have done it other places, but is not a pushover in the sense that it's like, okay, at the end of the day, this is how we're going to do it. Very organized, very efficient, and does a really, really good job as the offensive coordinator, and is a great person to work for. So.
What's kind of the target number you want from a availability perspective, game in, game out, of guys for your position
group?
A number
of physical players?
How many guys do you want to play at a game?
That's a great question. I don't know. Let's say that we're going to play a team and we plan on running the ball. I'd love to be in 14 personnel. That'd be selfish. How great does that sound? But it kind of just depends on what the overall game plan is going to look like. So would Lee like to play a few different guys? Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to give guys different opportunities and different roles and stuff like that within the game plan, but we don't necessarily have a target specific number that we're looking for.
Terrence is a guy who's put on a good amount of weight in a short period of time. Do you have a particular target in mind and body comp in mind for him to fit a certain mold of particularly at the A position?
So it's interesting, we were talking about body comps as a coaching staff, right? And it's like, hey, I need to lose a certain amount of weight, you know what I mean? But really at the end of the day, right, you really I'm looking for my own side, do my pants fit, type thing. And it's kind of when we look at those guys, where are his speeds? Does he look like he's running well? You know what I mean? So everybody's going to be a little bit different. So as they gain weight, we kind of see, how does it look? Maybe they've gained weight and they've created more power and more strength, right? Wilson Love and those guys in the weight room. And so as guys have put on weight or lost weight, right, we just kind of measure it to see what their performance looks like.
What's been the learning curve for Terrell coming over from defense?
I think that anytime when you flip sides of the ball, right, there's a massive change in philosophy and what you're overall trying to get done. Even blocking to tackling, right, is different. I know, you know what I mean. So he's come a long way in a very short amount of time.
With Mo and Terrence both, what did you want to see those guys improve on after spring ball? How do you think they kind of respectively got after that?
I think both of those guys, right? I think we wanted to, with guys that have played last year, we wanted to make sure that they were reliable and dependable, right? That obviously they knew what to do, get lined up, right? But could execute the offense in every facet that we ask them to do, right? And be guys that are reliable in the passing game. I don't know what their stats were or stuff like that last year, right? But we wanted to make sure that they were utilized in that aspect. And so so far they've done a really, really great job.
How was their blocking and space been? Because that's always a challenge for tight ends in general, particularly young guys. They had some highs at times last year, some lows at others. It happens.
Yeah.
But how is that
I thought it's gotten a
improved, or-
lot better. It's gotten a lot better. Is it easy? No. Nobody wants to go one-on-one in the middle of the open court right now. You know what I mean? So they've done a really, really good job of understanding space and leverage and stuff like that. So they've continuously improved there.
Back to Terrell, what are his strengths? I know Dan said he was maybe the fastest tight end, but other than that, I mean, had he played much tight end growing up? I mean, kind of what's his background?
So his head coach James Brown had played him at tight end in high school a little bit, so he had some familiarity with the position. Everybody, although it may have been called tight end at that, it may be a little bit different than the aspect of or the facets in which we use the tight end. So I think he's learning a lot of different. Like, does he know all the run game? Like, no, he didn't know a whole lot of the run game. Nor should he. Glorified big wide out at that point. You know what I mean? So he's learned a lot. He's been really, really good.
And athletically, he's obviously
He's fast. Yeah, he's real fast. Definitely the fastest guy in the room, I would think.
Drew, I know how the team meetings are being broken down by saying 4, but it's your room.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything specific, and have you been doing anything specific?
I think that that's a good question. Yes, I think that we talk about it. I don't think that. I think we want to honor his memory by being great at the way that we approach our work, and we ask ourselves, is that reflective of what this unit should look like on film, right? Don't miss on the opportunities that you have. They're not here forever, right, wrong, or indifferent. And we talk about it. I think guys like Cam have done a really, really good job of keeping that in its rightful place. Obviously, nobody sits in his chair in our meeting room either. And so this has been a growing thing for us, as we've gone through it. But I think that our guys, our unit together, we've all supported each other. So it's been really cool.
How have you dealt with it, Drew? And because you're a young guy. Unfortunately, I don't think you've had to experience this before. So how have you personally dealt with it?
I lost a teammate when I was in college that was my age, but I think that nobody deals with any of these things very well. I think the thing is that you want to be steady and consistent for your players so that, their emotional highs and lows are not as high or as low. And, they're kids at the end of the day, right? However, I know Cam has been here for a long time, but
Older than you.
yeah, it feels like it at times, right? At the end of the day, they need something that's going to stay consistent in their lives, that's going to remind them of the opportunities that they have and how to utilize those things and how to keep certain things in the right perspective. And so I just try to be that. And they've been there for me too. They say, hey, Coach, you doing good? You doing all right? And, and it's it's a little tougher day than others, but so I'm very, very thankful for those kids. I couldn't imagine going through something like that without that group. That group from top to bottom is absolutely incredible as people. I know what they are in the field, but they're awesome people, and so people I'm extremely thankful and prayerful about.